He paraded his mistress through galas, ashamed of the wife he thought was plain and unworthy. But on the night he aimed to dazzle, she stepped in, and the entire room turned to her. His arrogance shattered, her quiet strength thundered, and what happened next left the elite world stunned. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, generously hit the like button, because it means the world to us. And let us know in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it there? Please sit back, relax, and enjoy as we dive into the story. The wedding photographs hung on the wall like mocking relics. Aisha's face smiled softly in every frame, her eyes bright with a young woman's hope. Marcus stood beside her in each shot, his expression polished but hollow. A performance for the cameras. The wedding photos hung on the wall like cruel jokes, staring down at the living room. Aisha's face beamed softly in every frame, her eyes sparkling with that fresh hope only a young woman could hold on to. Marcus stood next to her in each one, his smile sharp and fake, like he was posing for a billboard instead of vowing forever. It was all for show, a performance caught on camera that fooled everyone in Atlanta. Folks in the city buzzed about that day, whispering how lucky Aisha was to snag Marcus Johnson, the up-and-coming black billionaire with his tailored suits and cutthroat drive. They didn't catch how his fingers dug into her hand at the altar, too tight, like he was claiming property, or how his eyes scanned the crowd for big shots instead of locking onto hers. In the Johnson house, love never stood a chance. It withered before it could bloom. Marcus treated marriage like a business deal gone sour. Aisha became the keeper of his ego, not the love of his life. Every morning she'd drag herself out of bed before dawn, ironing his shirts until they were crisp enough to cut glass, plating his breakfast just right, toast golden brown, eggs runny in the middle, coffee black and strong like he demanded. She'd stand there in the kitchen, hands clasped, waiting for a glance, a word, anything. But he never gave it. He'd shovel food in with the newspaper spread wide, barely looking up, his thanks clipped like he was tipping a server, not appreciating his wife. Marcus judged people by how they shone in the spotlight. Aisha, with her soft voice, simple outfits, and deep ebony skin that glowed under any light, embarrassed him. He craved flash, a woman dripping in diamonds, oozing that loud sophistication, turning heads in boardrooms like a trophy on his arm. Aisha, with her quiet laughs and dreams of a real family, didn't cut, so he hid her. Dinners with clients, networking mixers, weekend galas. He flew solo or with associates, never her. She faded into a ghost in their own marriage, haunting the halls while he chased the glow-up. One evening, as Aisha set down a loaf of fresh-baked bread that filled the air with warmth, Marcus glanced at her plain cotton dress and muttered, "You'd turn me into a joke if I dragged you out looking like that." He didn't even lift his head from the paper, didn't see her lips quiver, didn't hear the breath she choked back to stay silent. He flipped the page and the quiet between them thickened like fog. But that silence wasn't defeat. Deep inside Aisha, every jab planted seeds, not of giving up, but of rising. She'd lie awake at night, the lamp's glow casting shadows on her notebook as she jotted numbers, sketched plans, copied tips from finance books she'd snuck from the library. Marcus figured she was too reliant on him to ever break free. He had no clue that while he trashed her dreams, she was turning them into blueprints. Atlanta was a tight-knit spot with memories that stuck like gum on a sidewalk, and gossip spread faster than traffic on I-85. It started small. Marcus grabbing dinner at that fancy Italian joint on Peachtree with a tall woman who sure as hell wasn't Aisha. Before long, sightings piled up. Lounges, office parties, out-of-town deals, photos popping up on social media feeds. Her name was Tiana. She was a knockout, with glossy hair cascading like a waterfall, bold dresses that shimmered under lights, in a voice that rang out across rooms like a siren call. Marcus paraded her around as his special someone, letting everyone fill in the blanks. Aisha caught the whispers in people's stares before the words hit her ears. At the grocery store, neighbors tilted their heads with that pity look as she pushed her cart. Some murmured, "Poor Aisha," like her life was some sad movie she'd auditioned for. She'd walk home with her bag of veggies, shoulders squared, lips sealed tight. At night, when Marcus strolled in reeking of someone else's perfume, she didn't grill him. She just hugged her books closer, flipping another page without a word. Tiana became the pride that Marcus never gave Aisha. He loved showing her off. Steak dinners at the hot new spot, cocktails downtown, weekends leaving Aisha alone in their echoing house. He thought Aisha was too ordinary to compete, too timid to fight back, too hooked on him to bolt. Once in a dimly lit bar booth, he chuckled with Tiana, his hand on her knee. She doesn't even notice, thinks her cooking and prayers are enough to keep things going. But Aisha noticed it all. The credit card bills from boutiques she'd never stepped foot in, the faint lipstick smear on his cuff one time, the way his laugh shifted when Tiana's name lit up his phone. Aisha carried those hits like weights in her chest. But instead of dropping them, she stacked them into something solid. For every date he blew on Tiana, Aisha stayed up grinding investment strategies. For every pick that hit the feeds, she quietly linked up with pros who dug her sharp questions. Her shame fueled the fire. She said zip, but she remembered every damn thing. Back in the day, Marcus had whispered sweet vows. On their wedding night, he'd promised to cherish her, make sure she never wanted for anything, and build a beautiful life together. Aisha clung to those words like gospel, believing every syllable. But reality smacked her hard and fast. His promises turned to dust. His pride was ironclad. At the rare parties she tagged along to, Marcus cut her down with words sharper than a switchblade. He'd slap a hand on her back and say, "This is just Aisha," like she was wallpaper, not his wife. Guests would flash polite grins, their eyes sliding right past her. He'd laugh out loud at her clothes, those cozy sweaters, modest skirts, calling them country get-ups. Aisha's cheeks would burn, her fingers gripping her water glass until her knuckles paled, her smile fragile as cracked ice. Marcus swigged his wine, puffed up on his own meanness. Alone in the bathroom mirror after those nights, Aisha whispered to her reflection, "I won't break." Her hands shook, but her voice steadied. She started squirreling away cash, tucking small bills where Marcus wouldn't notice, opened a secret account, dipped into small stocks, snagged used textbooks on corporate law. Each page she turned built another layer in the empire she was crafting on the sly. Marcus, too full of himself to see her potential, bragged to his buddies at the club about his deals. "Soon I'll own half this city," he'd boast. What he didn't know was that Aisha was weaving herself into Atlanta's undercurrents her way, unseen, unheard, but unbreakable. To him, she was invisible. To herself, she was gearing up to be unstoppable. Every snide remark, every cold shoulder, just tightened her grip. The woman he dismissed as basic was rewriting her fate in the quiet hours. Atlanta's streets hummed with secrets that night, the kind that stuck to your shoes like city grime. Marcus had been stepping out bold as brass, no shame in his game. It kicked off innocent enough, a dinner at that swanky Italian spot on Main, him laughing too loud with a tall, striking woman who wasn't Aisha. Word spread like wildfire through the grapevine, folks texting pics and whispering in coffee shops. Before long, it was everywhere. Lounges downtown, corporate shindigs, weekend getaways. Photos flooded Instagram and society pages, Marcus grinning like he'd hit the jackpot. Her name was Tiana, a real showstopper with hair glossy as fresh oil, dresses that hugged curves and caught every light, voice booming across rooms like she owned them. All black excellence on the surface, but flashy in a way that screamed, "Look at me." Marcus introduced her as his ride or die, letting the world read between the lines. Aisha caught the vibes first and stares at the market, eyes darting away too quickly. Then the murmurs hit. Poor Aisha, stuck at home while he's out playing. She'd haul her grocery bags back to the house, chin up, not a word slipping. But inside it burned. Marcus treated Tiana like his crown jewel, the one Aisha could never be. He'd whisk her to steak joints where the cuts cost more than a month's rent, sip cocktails in rooftop bars with skyline views, and leave Aisha staring at empty walls on weekends. The house felt like a tomb, echoes bouncing off marble floors. He figured Aisha was clueless, too wrapped up in her routines to clock the game. One night in a dimly lit booth, his hand sliding up Tiana's thigh, he chuckled low. She doesn't even suspect. Thinks her home-cooked meals and bedtime prayers keep the fire going. Tiana threw her head back, laughing that bell-like peal, her diamonds flashing. But Aisha knew. Oh, she knew. The credit card statements piled up, charges from high-end stores she'd never browsed, scents clinging to his collars that weren't her vanilla body wash, his phone buzzing at odd hours with that telltale grin. Those clues hit her like gut punches, stacking up in her chest like bricks. But she didn't shatter. Nah, she built. Every secret date fueled late-night sessions poring over stock charts. Every leaked photo pushed her to cold call mentors, her voice steady as she asked about market trends. Humiliation wasn't her end. It was rocket fuel. She kept her mouth shut, eyes open, filing it all away. Marcus ramped it up, no breaks. He'd come home late, tie loosened, that smug look like he'd conquered the world. Aisha would catch whiffs of Tiana's perfume, something bold and spicy, mixing with his cologne. She'd plate his dinner without a peep, watching him dig in while scrolling his phone, probably texting her. One evening, as she cleared the table, he glanced up mid-bite. You know, Tiana turns heads wherever we go, makes a man feel like a king. He said it casually, like commenting on the weather, but the jab landed square. Aisha's throat tightened, but she swallowed it down, forcing a nod. Glad you're happy, she murmured, turning to the sink so he wouldn't see her fists clench. He laughed it off, oblivious, diving back into his emails. But that night, alone in bed, she pulled out her laptop, diving deeper into investment forums. Not today, she whispered to the screen, fingers flying. Marcus thought he had her pegged. Simple, dependent, no threat. Wrong. Gossip mills churned harder. At the neighborhood block party, old Mrs. Jenkins pulled Aisha aside by the punch bowl. Honey, you hearing what I'm hearing? That man's out there flaunting some side piece. Aisha forced a smile, sipping her drink. Just rumors, Mrs. J. We're good. But inside, it stung like salt in a cut. Back home, she'd replay it, turning pain into plans. She started emailing pros under a fake name, soaking up advice on startups. One day, she'd think, staring at the ceiling, he'll see. Marcus doubled down on the disrespect, dragging Tiana to client dinners where flashes popped like fireworks. One hit the feeds, him with his arm around her waist, her gold dress shimmering, caption reading, Power Couple Vibes. Aisha scrolled through it on her phone, heart hammering. She slammed it down, tears pricking, but wiped them fast. No more, she hissed to her reflection. That sparked her first real move, linking up with a financial advisor online, anonymous, grilling him on portfolios. He kept pushing boundaries, mocking her in subtle ways. Over breakfast one morning, newspaper in hand. Tiana's got that spark, you know? Lights up a room. Aisha stirred her coffee, spoon clinking loudly. Sounds nice, she replied flat, but her mind raced. Use it. Build from it. She skipped lunch that day, hitting the library instead, devouring books on venture capital. Marcus sauntered out for another meeting, clueless. Tiana grew bolder too, posting cryptic stories with Marcus's watch and frame or his car in the background. Atlanta ate it up, shares and likes piling on. Aisha's phone buzzed with pity texts from friends. You okay? Saw the pics. She'd reply quickly, all good here. But each one fueled her fire. She opened her first investment app, dumping small change into stocks, watching them tick up. This is mine, she'd think, a spark igniting. Marcus hit a new low at a rare family gathering, pulling Aisha close for show, but whispering, don't embarrass me tonight, all right? Keep it low-key. She nodded, biting her tongue, but later alone, she sketched her first business plan. The house felt quieter than ever, her presence fading like smoke. But in that silence, she forged steel. Every slight, every flaunt carved her sharper. Marcus paraded his affair like a badge. But Aisha? She was plotting her escape, brick by invisible brick. By the month's end, the rumors solidified into fact in everyone's minds. Marcus didn't hide it anymore, bringing Tiana to office parties where colleagues shot Aisha sympathetic glances over Zoom calls. She endured, turning inward, her secret empire budding. He thinks I'm nothing, she'd muse, closing another deal in her head. Wait till he sees. The ghost in the house wasn't haunting. It was gearing up to roar. Marcus kept the hits coming, no let-up in sight. At one of those rare black tie mixers, he dragged Aisha to some swanky fundraiser for Atlanta's elite. He leaned in close during cocktail hour, his breath hot with bourbon. "Just smile and nod, babe. Don't go yapping about your little hobbies." He said it low like advice, but it sliced deep. Aisha felt her stomach twist, but she locked eyes with him, forcing a grin. "Got it," she muttered, gripping her clutch until her nails bit skin. The room buzzed with power players, suits schmoozing over champagne, laughter echoing off crystal chandeliers. Marcus worked the crowd like a pro, slapping backs and dropping names. "I'm closing deals left and right," he'd boast to a cluster of investors, his voice booming. "Half this city's going to be in my pocket soon. Tech startups, real estate flips, you name it." They nodded, impressed, clinking glasses. Aisha stood off to the side, invisible in her simple black dress, watching him glow under the spotlight he craved. One exec turned to her, polite small talk. "And what do you do, Mrs. Johnson?" Before she could answer, Marcus cut in with a laugh. "Oh, Aisha, she's my rock at home. Keeps the place running smoothly." He patted her shoulder like she was a loyal dog, eyes already scanning for the next handshake. The guy chuckled awkwardly, drifting off. Aisha's cheeks burned, but she swallowed the fire, whispering to herself in the ladies' room later. "Use it. Turn it into fuel." Her reflection stared back, eyes hardening. That jab lit something fierce. Back home, while Marcus crashed out snoring, Aisha snuck to the den, cracking open a used corporate law textbook she'd scored from a thrift shop. Pages flew under her highlighter. Mergers, contracts, liability clauses. This is power, she'd think, jotting notes till her hand cramped. Mornings, she'd stash small bills from grocery change into a shoebox under the bed, building her war chest. No more depending on his scraps. He ramped up the ego trips at the next event, a gala for black entrepreneurs where spotlights danced and bass thumped. Marcus pulled her along for optics, but once inside, he ditched her at the bar. "Mingle if you want, but keep it light," he tossed over his shoulder, already zeroing in on a table of moguls. Aisha nursed a soda, eavesdropping as he bragged. "My empire's exploding, apps disrupting the market, properties flipping like hotcakes. Stick with me, fellas, and we'll own this town." Laughter erupted, fists bumping. She caught snippets about Tiana, too, subtle nods to his +1 on trips. A woman nearby, decked in pearls, leaned in. "You're Marcus's wife, right? He talks a big game." Aisha nodded, throat tight. "Yeah, that's him." Inside, rage simmered. "Big game, my ass," she thought, clenching her jaw. That night, driving home in silence, she replayed every slight. By dawn, she was online, signing up for a leadership seminar under her maiden name, Aisha Williams. No ties to him. "This is mine," she typed, hitting submit with a click that felt like freedom. The humiliations piled on, each one sharpening her edge. At a backyard barbecue with his crew, grills smoking, beers flowing, Marcus joked loudly. "Aisha's got that old-school vibe, you know? Keeps it simple while I chase the bag." Guys chuckled, ribbing him. She forced a laugh, but her mind raced. "Chase your bag all you want. I'm building my own." Later, alone in the garage, she pulled up online courses on business law, devouring modules on LLCs and patents. "Screw his empire," she'd mutter, eyes glued to the screen. Savings grew stealthily, 20 here, 50 there, tucked away in an app-based account he never checked. She'd skip lunches, claiming diets, funneling cash into stocks that ticked up slowly but steadily. Marcus, blind as ever, kept flexing. Over dinner one evening, fork waving, "I'm sealing a deal tomorrow that'll put us on the map. High rises downtown, baby." He grinned, expecting awe. Aisha poked at her salad, nodding. "Sounds great." But her thoughts screamed, "Us? This is all you." The turning point hit at a networking brunch, sunlight streaming through cafe windows. Marcus introduced her dismissively. "My better half keeps the home fires burning." The group smiled politely, conversation shifting. Aisha excused herself to the restroom, splashing water on her face. "No more burning for you," she hissed at the mirror. That afternoon, she hit her first seminar, Aisha Williams on the badge, blending in with ambitious prose. The speaker drilled on negotiation tactics. She scribbled furiously, heart pounding. This is it, she realized, a spark igniting into flame. Every dig fueled her grind. Marcus's arrogance deepened, but so did her resolve. Late nights blurred into early mornings. Law texts stacked high, bank app glowing with progress. He thinks I'm fading, she'd think, closing another chapter. But I'm rising. The whispers from his world, they weren't dousing her. They were kindling. Aisha wasn't breaking. She was forging, one silent strike at a time. Marcus cranked up the volume on his double life. No signs of slowing. Thursday night rolled in hot. Client dinner at the Grand Atlanta Hotel, chandeliers dripping light like honey. He texted Tiana mid-afternoon, "Wear that gold number. We're owning the room tonight." She fired back with emojis, hearts, and flames. Aisha caught him grinning at his phone over coffee, but she played it cool, stirring her musloleo. "Big night?" she asked, voice steady. He glanced up, tie half nodded. "Yeah, sealing a deal, don't wait up." He pecked her cheek, perfunctory like checking a box, and bolted, leaving the door slam echoing. Aisha sank into the couch, phone in hand, scrolling feeds that lit up with fresh pics by midnight. There he was, arms slung around Tiana's waist, her dress shimmering like a disco ball, laughs wide for the cameras. Comments flooded. "Power moves! Couple goals AF!" Her chest tightened, breath hitching, but she swiped away tears fast. "Not breaking me," she muttered, slamming the device down. Instead, she grabbed her laptop, fingers flying to register for that leadership boot camp at the local institute. Screw waiting, she thought, hitting enroll under Aisha Williams. No Johnson attached. He kept the invites flowing. Tiana glued to his side at mixers, her demands ramping. "Baby, I need that new necklace to match," she'd purr over speakerphone one morning, voice syrupy. Marcus chuckled, wallet already out. "Anything for you. Makes us look unstoppable." Aisha overheard from the kitchen pouring his coffee black. She set it down quietly, face blank. But inside, storm brewing. "Unstoppable? We'll see." That afternoon she skipped errands, diving into online forums, cold emailing mentors. "Interested in your webinar on scaling startups? Got questions on funding rounds?" Responses trickled in, pros impressed by her grit. Marcus's ego ballooned, strutting like a peacock. At home, he'd flop on the couch, post-event, tie loose, bragging, "Tiana killed it tonight, had the whole table eating out of her hand." He'd laugh, scrolling pics, oblivious to Aisha clearing plates. One time she passed with a tray, catching him mid-joke. "You're too basic for this world, babe. Tiana gets it. Flash and fire." He said it lightly, like teasing, but it landed heavily. Aisha's knuckles whitened on the tray, but she bit back. "Glad she's working out." Later, alone in the attic, she unpacked hidden folders, contracts, drafts, network lists. "Basic? Try, boss," she hissed, adding names from seminar chats. Demands from Tiana escalated, her taste for luxury bottomless. "That purse we saw? Get it shipped," she'd text, Marcus complying fast, charges stacking on statements Aisha now monitors Lee. He'd joke over cocktails with her on speaker. Aisha wouldn't know Gucci from Goodwill. Too simple for the good stuff. Laughter echoed through the line. Aisha, eavesdropping from the hall, felt the sting but channeled it. "Simple? I'll show you layers." She linked up with a finance group online, anonymous, grilling vets on equity splits. Building my net, she'd think, contacts growing like weeds. Weekends turned ghost towns, Aisha solo in the sprawling house, Marcus off with Tiana at brunches or drives. She'd stare at empty chairs, then hit the books, practicing pitches in the mirror. "Hi, I'm Aisha Williams, founder of..." Voice shaky at first, then steadying. One Saturday, pics hit, them at a rooftop spot, toasting sunsets. Aisha's phone buzzed with a friend's text. "You seeing this?" She replied quickly. "All good." But rage fueled a late-night grind, researching accelerators, jotting plans for her venture. His spotlight? Mine's coming. Arrogance peaked when Tiana crashed a work call at home, her voice blasting. Marcus, that trip to NYC? Booked the suite. He shushed her, glancing at Aisha folding laundry nearby. Yeah, got it. Aisha kept folding, expression neutral, but her mind raced. Suite for two, huh? That sparked her first real network move, emailing a seminar alum. Loved your talk on bootstrapping. Coffee next week? Reply came fast. Sure, let's chat. Score. Marcus, clueless, kept flexing. I'm untouchable now. Deals lining up. She built in shadows, secrets stacking. Attic became her war room. Notes pinned, app balances climbing from smart trades. He thinks I'm fading, she'd whisper, closing a session. But I'm igniting. Tiana's greed fed his blind spot. Aisha's silence masked her surge. Every flaunt, every ditch hammered her resolve. Waiting game, hers to win. The envelope slid under the front door that crisp morning, heavy as a brick with gold edges, screaming importance. Aisha spotted it first on the welcome mat, bending to scoop it up, feeling its weight like fate knocking. She turned it over, fingers tracing the embossed seal from some big-shot New York Business Association. Heart skipping, she carried it to the breakfast nook where Marcus sat buffing his cufflinks, tie already perfect. He snatched it quickly, eyes lighting up as he ripped the seal. Hell yeah, he muttered, scanning the invite to their annual gala. Black tie elite bash, spouse mandatory. He smirked, folding it neatly into his jacket. This is it, my ticket to the big leagues. Aisha poured his coffee, catching his glance flicker. Not at her, but at the thought of Tiana sparkling under those Manhattan lights. She said nothing. Silence her shield. But inside, wheels are turning faster. That evening, Marcus hunkered at his desk, phone pressed to his ear. Aisha folded laundry next door, ears perked as his voice dropped low and hype. Baby, you're gonna slay New York. World'll eat us up. You in that killer gown, me closing deals. Tiana's laugh tinkled through the speaker, all honey and heat. Promise? I want heads turning. He chuckled deep. Guaranteed. We're the power duo. Aisha pressed a shirt flat, hands steady, but pulse racing. Power duo, keep dreaming, she thought, stacking clothes higher. Tiana treated the gala like her Super Bowl. She stormed Manhattan boutiques days later, Marcus trailing like a puppy with plastic. This one, she'd spin in a gold gown stitched with crystals, trains sweeping marble floors. He lit up. Damn, you'll outshine stars. She preened in mirrors, practicing poses. Chin up, smile killer, gliding like royalty. Photo's gonna blow up, she'd say, imagining envy scrolls on her feed. Marcus nodded, wallet flying open, pride swelling. We're unstoppable. Meanwhile, Aisha moved in shadows, no flash needed. She skipped shops, hitting her lawyer's office instead, a downtown spot with frosted glass doors. Finalize these, she told the team, sliding contracts across the desk. They nodded, impressed. Investments locked, agreements ironclad. You're set, the lead said, shaking her hand firmly. Aisha's nod was cool, but inside, adrenaline pumping. No turning back. Nights blurred as she stood before her bedroom mirror, rehearsing composure, not smiles but steel. Thank you for the honor, she'd practice, voice gaining edge each run. No more timid wife. This was CEO mode. Marcus rolled in late one night, shirt rumpled with Tiana's scent. Aisha didn't flinch, just flipped another notebook page. He thought her quiet meant surrender. Clueless, she'd think, jotting strategies. His silence? Defeat in his eyes. Hers? Pure tactic. Transformation hit warp speed. Aisha slid into a stylish chair one afternoon, hair snipped into a sleek bob framing her strong jaw. Subtle makeup, enough to pop her features without hiding her glow. Her girl Maya tagged along for gown hunting, racks of satin whispering under fingers. Aisha's hand paused on emerald fabric, soft sheen catching light. Folds regal yet understated. Maya gasped, "That's you! Power without the scream." Aisha held it up, the mirror reflecting a queen. "Made for this," Maya whispered. Aisha smiled faintly. "Ready as hell." She wasn't dressing to stab Marcus. No revenge flash. This was for her, claiming respect she'd hustled for. The mirror showed no shadow anymore, just light blazing. This gown's my armor, she thought, twirling once. Maya squeezed her arm. Girl, you're glowing. Aisha nodded, heart steady. About time. Two women geared up for the same showdown. Tiana chased vanity. Sequins, poses, spotlight dreams. Aisha built for battle. Lawyers, plans, quiet might. Marcus whispered promises to the wrong one, blind to the storm brewing. Weeks ticked down, tension thick as NYC smog. Aisha's calendar is filled with mentor meets and voice sharpening and mock speeches. Resilience isn't loud, it's relentless, she'd practice, eyes locked on her reflection. Marcus, puffed up, kept hyping Tiana. We'll own that room. But Aisha, she owned her prep, secrets locked tight. His stage, she'd think, folding the gown away. My reveal. The gala loomed, fates colliding. Vanity versus power? Guess which wins? Manhattan pulsed that night, skyline ablaze like a challenge. The gala hall thrummed, chandeliers dripping light, red carpet buzzing with flashes as limos disgorged power suits. Marcus stepped out smooth, Tiana on his arm in that gold gown, hugging every curve, crystals popping under cameras. Tonight's ours, he whispered, hand possessive on her waist. She flashed teeth. Damn right, heads turning already. He grinned widely, pride inflating as photogs yelled their names. Marcus Johnson, over here. No thought of Aisha, she was home, forgotten. Inside the ballroom hummed, jazz low, air thick with cologne and ambition. Tiana clutched his sleeve, scanning for stares. Feel that? We're the vibe. Marcus nodded, schmoozing execs. Big deals brewing, stay tuned. Laughter rippled, glasses clinking. He felt invincible. Tiana his trophy gleaming. Aisha arrived low-key, rolling up with colleagues who'd clocked her hustle. Emerald gown flowed like liquid power, subtle glow turning heads without screaming. Whispers trailed. Who's that? She strode in calmly, each step owning ground. Tiana spotted the buzz, puffed up. All eyes on us. Marcus chuckled, blind. Host tapped the mic, voice booming. Ladies and gents, our keynote, CEO Aisha Williams. Applause crashed. Marcus froze, glass slipping in his grip. Tiana blinked hard. What? Name hit like a gut punch. Chairs scraped as folks stood clapping. Aisha ascended the stage, gown catching lights, posture queen level. Mic in hand, she commanded silence without a word. Marcus's jaw dropped. The wife he'd trashed, hidden, now center stage as the boss he'd never seen. Gasps spread. That's Johnson's wife. Aisha, no way. The one he never brings? Her voice cut clear, authority dripping. Thanks for the honor. Words flowed. Resilience. Building from zero. Weathering storms that tried to break you. True strength doesn't brag. It endure, she said, eyes sweeping the room. Each line mirrored Marcus's crap. Humiliations turned fuel. Quiet grinds outlasting flash. Audience leaned in, mesmerized. Flashes popping, notes scribbled. Marcus sat rigid, knuckles white on his drink. Tiana shifted uneasily, gold suddenly feeling cheap under spotlights. Guests who'd bought his hype now eyed Aisha with awe, flicking judgmental glances his way. Her speech crested. We rise not by stepping on others, but lifting from the dirt they threw. Gaze brushed Marcus once, sharp as a blade, no venom, just truth. Power's silent till it roars. Thunderous applause erupted, a standing ovation shaking the walls. She bowed slightly, serene. Marcus's world cracked. Claps faded as Aisha descended, heels clicking purposefully. He tugged his collar, sweat beading, smile cracking. She stopped at their table, crowd hushing. No yell, no shake. She pulled a white envelope from her clutch, placed it gently. For you, she said softly, her voice caring. His fingers trembled opening it. Divorce papers, terms crisp, her signature bold. Gasps fired like shots. No way. Right here? Tiana's lips parted, face paling. Marcus stammered. Aisha, wait, let's talk. Voice broke, plea weak. She smiled politely, calm, wrecking him harder than fury. Cameras snapped his humiliation live. Tiana's hand dropped from his, nails scraping. "You idiot!" she hissed low, fury boiling. First time seeing his crown slip. She stood abruptly, gown swishing as she stormed off, leaving him solo under stairs. Aisha didn't linger, turned graceful, crowd parting like the sea. Applause sparked again, for her grace this time. Marcus's call cracked behind. "Aisha!" But it dissolved weakly, leaving a smoke in the air. She glided out, night air hitting cool and clean. Deep breath, chest light, chains dropped at his feet. Colleague caught her at the curb. "You lit that room up," inspired every sister there. Aisha smiled faintly, heart steady. "Just claiming what's mine." Inside, the gala buzzed with fallout, whispers nailing his ego shut. Marcus slumped, empire cracking, alone in the glare. Marcus slumped in his chair long after the gala lights dimmed, applause echoing like mocking ghosts. Hands shook as he reached for his glass, spilling red wine across the tablecloth like blood. Tiana had bolted, her gold gown vanishing into the crowd, leaving him exposed under pity stares. "What the hell just happened?" he muttered, voice cracking. Colleagues' averted eyes, whispers slicing. "Johnson's done! Wife just nuked him!" His phone stayed silent. No texts, no calls. Empire is cracking at the seams. The limo ride home was a nightmare solo. He replayed Aisha's stage glow, her calm handoff of those papers. "Free," she'd said, like tossing scraps. He punched the seat, knuckles splitting. "Stupid, stupid." The driver glanced back nervously, but Marcus waved him off. Pulled up to the dark mansion, doors creaking open to emptiness. Wandered halls, footsteps hollow, kitchen bare, no warm scents. Bedroom closet half empty, her side gutted. Another envelope on the table, her script neat. "I'm gone. Find your peace." Knees buckled. He crashed into a chair, letter crumpling in his fist. "What have I done?" Tears hit for the first time in years. Morning board meeting hit like a freight train. Suit rumpled, eyes bloodshot. He dragged into buzzing whispers. Partners stone-faced. News spread fast. Gala blow-up. Headlines screamed, "Aisha Williams, visionary rises." His name, Mud. Investor cut in sharply. "Why bury her talent? Your ego tanked us." Another piled on. Judgment shot, pulling funds. Contracts evaporated, handshakes cold. By the end, his empire was rubble. Deals dead, rep trashed. "Lost it all," he whispered, alone in the lot. Weeks blurred into misery. Phone dead, mansion a prison. Loneliness gnawed raw. He dialed Aisha endlessly. Voicemails pleading, "Baby, talk, I messed up." Ignored. Finally, she agreed. A small cafe, off-grid. He arrived early, fidgety, suit loose on a shrunken frame. She walked in a navy dress, presence commanding the joint. Breath caught. "Aisha, forgive me, blind, arrogant fool." Words tumbled, desperate, painting redemption pics. She listened, folded hands, the soft lift. Years of loyalty crushed, nothing left. Eyes steady, no hate, just done. "Some breaks don't mend." He teared up. She left calmly, door chime final. Tiana resurfaced venomous, banging his door in heels like daggers. "You ruined me, dragged me into your mess." Fury fermented bitter. "Pay up for the years I wasted." He laughed hollowly. "Nothing left, broke, disgraced." She sneered. "Useless then." Slammed out, perfume lingering like poison. Stood there stunned. Loyalty from her? Nah, vanity all along. Both gone. Rock bottom hit. Aisha, world flipped golden. Mornings woke to sunlight, no shadows. Calendar jammed. Invites is Aisha Williams, the leader who slayed that hall. Mansion transformed. Fresh paint, warm vibes. Doors open to allies cheering her grind. "You inspired us," a mentee said over coffee. Aisha smiled. "Just rose from the dirt." Mags ran her story. From hidden to hero. TV spots hailed her as an anthem for women. Brushed Marcus' questions politely. Past's past, forward now. Sat with Maya in the garden one dusk, lantern soft. "Look at you. Nights grinding under that lamp paid off." Aisha chuckled lightly. Not a fighter, just claim my spot. World leaned in, ears perked. No rush on love. She built cautious, heart-guarded but open. Met Ethan Carter at Boston Confab. White entrepreneur grounded in kindness, no flash. Mutual intro sparked chats, him digging her mind, not mask. Your take on equity's spot on, he'd say, voice equal, no ego. Friendship bloomed slowly, dinners stretching late, laughs over coffee, trips sharing wins, not weights. Softened in his glow, felt seen, as Aisha, not ex-wife. Friends noticed, girl, that smile when Ethan's name drops? Maya teased. Aisha shrugged, grinning. First time valued as partner. With him, love amplified her voice. No silence forced. Marcus haunted his shell, booze blurring nights, muttering, should have been me. Regret chewed deep. Months later, Aisha was on stage again, Businesswoman of the Year. Black gown shimmered, award lifted to thunderous claps. For mentors, team, and every underestimated woman grinding in shadows. Voice carried for all. He watched from the dark living room, the TV flickering on the hollow face. Tears streamed as she shone. My loss, he broke. Weeks on, pen shook as he wrote. Raw regrets. Blindness confessed. Greatest blessing. Punishment deserved. Forgive. Mailed, trembling. Aisha unfolded in her study, eyes scanning steadily. Folded neat, tucked away. No anger, just close. Whispered prayer. Peace for him. Chapter shut. She stepped into dawn. Sun spilled gold through her window. Stood at the sill, watching the sky blaze. Ethan wrapped his arms gently. Leaned in warm, smiling. Scars. Strength now. Pain. Triumph. Dawn's mine, she breathed. Queen in her realm. Story of gains, not loss. I'm glad you stuck around till the end. This story of Aisha's journey really hits home, reminding us that true strength often hides in the quiet moments. The kind of perseverance that turns humiliation into unbreakable power, and that arrogance can blind us to the real queens rising right beside us. Have you ever faced someone who underestimated you, only to prove them wrong in the most profound way? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you've turned pain into purpose. Next time, we'll dive into another heartfelt tale of redemption and fresh starts that might just spark something in your own life. Thanks from the bottom of my heart for watching and being part of this community. See you soon. Take care, y'all.